Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Johnny of the Super Gamer Brothers, and welcome to my Let's Play of the original Mega Man on Nintendo Entertainment System, released in 1987. It's actually my birth year. And folks, you're probably wondering, John, you're by yourself. What's going on? Well, you guys pretty much, I think most of you know what's going on already. I mean, we're getting to the point where it's really hard for me, Matt, and Elliot to meet up on a consistent basis and record content for the channel. I mean, you guys saw what happened last week. Last week was an utter void when it came to content. There was nothing to upload. We're out of footage. You know, we couldn't end Halloween Fest because we didn't have the time to meet up. We just now recently finished God of War, so I'll begin to upload more of that soon. But in terms of that, we have nothing else to upload, folks. But I don't want, I don't want the channel to suffer another week without any content. So I figured until we can get enough content to upload on a consistent basis, I'm going to be going solo for a bit. So what I have for you is the first two classic Mega Man games, and if we still don't have any content to upload at that point, then I will continue my solo adventures with more games that I have yet to select at this point in time. With that said, this is the original Mega Man game. This is where the Blue Bomber got his debut on the Nintendo Entertainment System. And in case you guys are not aware of my review channel, Somecallmejohnny, allow me to summarize what exactly is going on in this world. So it's the year 2000X, I believe that's what they state. And there exists two scientists. One is Dr. Light, good guy, and one is Dr. Wily, who's the bad guy. But why so? Well, the two are scientists in the field of robotics. Dr. Light pretty much pioneered the use of robots who are not only really advanced to the point they are capable of doing human-like tasks, they can do many things like industrial work or housework. And as a result, Dr. Light was well renowned. He won Nobel Peace Prize and stuff like that. And all of this attention and fame made his colleague, Dr. Wily, very jealous to the point of hijacking 6 of Dr. Light's creations and reprogramming them to, do his evil bidding. Dr. Wily wants to take over the world. With 6 robot masters, I'm sure that's a very possible task. But one creation of Dr. Light's was a robot named Rock, who volunteered to be converted into a battle robot, a super fighting robot, as you could say. And as a result, he made it his duty to stop the 6 robot masters that Dr. Wily converted and put an end to Dr. Wily's schemes in general. So Rock became Mega Man, champion of justice. Well, in Japan, Rock is known as Rock Man because when it comes to the Japanese continuity, they have a bit of a hard-on when it comes to musical motifs. You kind of lose that when you go from Rock to Mega Man. But he also has a sister named Roll. You put the two together, Rock and Roll, so it's all coming together, ladies and gentlemen. And as Mega Man, we need to defeat the 6 robot masters and put an end to Dr. Wily's schemes. And with that said, our first robot master of today is Cutman, who people normally don't go after first when it comes to playing the game. People usually like to go after Bomb Man first because he has a pretty predictable strategy that you can exploit. But with Cutman, well, there's 2 reasons why I like to go Cutman first. One, he's weak to the Mega Buster. He takes extra damage from Mega Man's default weapon. It's the little pea shooter that I've been using the entire stage is Mega Man's default weapon. Never runs out of ammo, you don't have to worry about that. You can only shoot horizontally though, so it's kind of a bummer. And secondly, whenever Cutman gets hit by Mega Man's Mega Buster, he has a violent reaction towards it. He staggers back, which can throw him off, which you can take advantage of, which I think I did during that boss fight. I'm not exactly sure. I rate that about a 3 out of 10. But one of the main gimmicks of Mega Man and the classic series in general is that every time you defeat a robot master, you gain access to that robot master's weapon. In Cutman's case, we got access to his rolling cutter, which is pretty much like a spinning scissors disc. I generally don't use it that very often because I don't like its overarching pattern. You shoot it, it goes in a slightly upward arc, makes a U-turn, and comes back to you in a downward arc. It's good for taking care of certain robots that you can't destroy or reach with Mega Man's default weapon, like those proximity Roombas that I took care of in the beginning of Elec Man stage, which is the Robot Master we're about to face at the end of this stage. Besides that, though, I don't really find any much more use for the Rolling Cutter, so I'll be sticking to the Mega Buster for a majority of this playthrough until I get access to another weapon that I will actually get by the end of this stage. No, I'll get at the end of the stage, I should say. So yeah, this is pretty much what Mega Man's all about, folks. It's 2D platforming, you're jumping and shooting, and that's pretty much the name of the game here. I will say, though, for like Mega Man's first game, I think he controls rather well. He does have a bit of momentum issues that I have, you know, that I'm pretty sure people aren't familiar with. For one thing, like when it comes to precision platforming, say like these platforms actually, Mega Man packs a lot of momentum when he starts getting a move on, and as a result, when he comes to a stop, he still sort of slides like 2 inches, which can spell the difference between life and death. So the one thing I would recommend doing when it comes to jumping on tiny platforms is to, you know, jump a lot. Mega Man doesn't slide when he lands from a jump. That's a good way to keep yourself from, you know, sliding off platforms and stuff like that. Another thing that's kind of annoying with Mega Man is that when you're standing still and you decide to start moving again, Mega Man sort of like steps a centimeter forward before actually going into a full run, which can actually throw you off more than you can imagine when it comes to handling tiny platforms. So I would recommend if you're from a standstill and you want to get a move on, jump first. That will send you from 0 to 100 instantaneously, and I think it gives you a better sense of control. I know it's kind of weird to explain, but once you get your hands on that controller, I think it'll all start coming together once you get a feel for how Mega Man moves in this game. You see, like tiny platforms like this is where Mega Man's momentum can really screw you over if you're not constantly moving. If you stop, you're asking for trouble. But Elec Man stage in general it's more of a vertical climbing stage. You're spending most of your time climbing ladders and stuff like that. Luckily, Mega Man still can defend himself when it comes to light. He can still shoot left or right, so if you have threats coming at you, you can at least defend yourself that way. And that robot right there is a total asshole. He takes 1/3 of your health if you collide with him. So I would recommend, you know, just ignoring them in general and going under them when he makes that high jump, because they take a shitload of abuse too, folks, and it's generally not worth your effort or time. But we are just about to enter Elec Man's room, and I hate when that happens. Every time if you're on a ladder and you pause the game and resume the game, Mega Man will let go of the ladder. Well, no, it doesn't happen when you just pause the game. It happens when you switch weapons on a ladder. Mega Man will, you know, blink for a second, which lets you know that he's changing weapons, but he lets go of the ladder as a result. So don't let go of the up button when you're switching weapons on a ladder. But with that said, though, this is Elec Man, who is weak to the Rolling Cutter. That's pretty much another main gimmick of Mega Man is once you defeat a Robot Master, then the other Robot Masters, for the most part, start falling like a stack of dominoes, because once you know their weaknesses, and they're relatively easy to beat. In Elec Man's case, he goes down in like 3 hits of the Rolling Cutter. I would be careful though, because Elec Man's weapon, the Thunder Beam, really hurts Mega Man. I think it takes him out in 3 shots as well. But that item that I just got, that we passed by during our first trek through Elec Man stage, is the Magnet Beam, which is mandatory to beat the game, by the way. But you can't gain access to it with Mega Man's weapons. You can't break those blocks. But there are 2 ways you can break those blocks. One is with the Thunder Beam that we just got from Elec Man stage, which would mean you would have to backtrack in order to get that Magnet Beam, which I just did right there. Or you can get Guts Man's weapon, which is the Super Arm, which you can just, you know, lift the blocks up and throw them out of the way. For this Let's Play, though, I obviously want Elec Man before going to Guts Man, so I had to backtrack a bit there, which is why I faded to black there. And we got the Magnet Beam, and for beating Elec Man, we got the Thunder Beam. This is my favorite weapon in the entire game, and is actually one of my favorite weapons in the classic series, period. I love this thing. It packs a punch. It shoots in 3 directions, as you can see, horizontally, vertically, and downward. No, I should just say vertically both ways. That goes both ways, right? And really, it's so awesome, and you know, it has such a wide range too. It's like a much better wave beam, like in the Metroid games. You know, with the Elec Beam, there's really no reason to go back to the Mega Buster. But we have disappearing blocks here, introduced in this game. Well, it's the first game, it kind of makes sense. But with the magnet beam, which I'm showing off right now, you can create temporary platforms for you to stand on. Temporary being the keyword there. Don't take too long with the platforms, because if you either disappear, you're going skyrocketing down to the bottomless pit. They're really, really handy for this particular section right here. Trying to do this platforming section without the magnet beam is really fucking obnoxious. I can't remember the last time I did this platforming section without the magnet beam, because they're moving constantly left and right. They shoot projectiles, if that didn't spell dick move already by itself. So unless you really like pain, or maybe you got mad precision platforming skills that I do not, I would recommend getting the magnet beam first, which will require you to do Elec Man or Guts Man stage first to get. But you can also use the magnet beam for situations like that. You can have an easier time avoiding those dickish red jumping robots. Now, I know there's a name for like all these enemies, but I don't really commit those to memory. Because the robot masters are pretty much generally what everybody remembers, because, well, their names are on the stage selection screen, and they just have more personality in terms of character design, really. But next up on our Robot Masters hit list is Iceman, who is weak to the Elec Beam. In fact, he's so weak to it, he goes down in 3 hits. Booyah. And that is the end of Iceman, ladies and gentlemen, and we got access to his weapon, which is the Ice Slasher, a weapon that I don't use that much, because, ladies and gentlemen, once I get the Elec Beam, there's really no reason to go to anything else, unless, there's that weapon has another secondary use that I can get something out of. With that said, though, the Ice Slasher, besides shooting an ice beam, does have the secondary effect of freezing certain things. It can freeze enemies in their place. It doesn't kill them, though. That's the real downside to it. And it can also freeze certain hazards, as I will demonstrate later down the road. But in the meantime, Elec Beam. And really, the fact that it can go through walls, well, that's one thing I like about Mega Man in general, is that his projectiles can go through walls and stuff like that. So you can deal with enemies that are on the opposite side of a wall effectively without having to come into point-blank range of them, risking damage and, dying in general. That's one thing I do like about the Mega Man series in general, about that kind of stuff. You can plan ahead with that sort of shit. Alright, so the next up on the Robot Masters hit list is Fireman, who is, when it comes to the stage itself, is a little more hazardous than what we're used to at this point. You got all these fire obstacles, the fire pillars right there, the fire lasers right there. Those could really put a number on Mega Man's health. But if you have the magnet beam at this point, which I do, you can generally ignore most of these obstacles. Really, the most annoying thing about this stage is actually those 3 fireballs that you just saw went onto the ceiling. After a while, they will rain down on Mega Man, and it's really annoying when you're in the middle of a jump and they hit you. And because Mega Man suffers from knockback, a classic NES attribute that a lot of characters had, Mega Man will most likely go into a bottomless pit and die as a result. You can destroy them though, so there is that. So you keep in mind that the Elec Beam can shoot straight up. You can get the preemptive instead of them getting the preemptive on you. Now, unfortunately, the Elec Beam doesn't shoot directly from on top of Mega Man, so when it comes to defending himself on a ladder, you may have to climb back down to get a better shot. And then there you go, that's the magnet beam again, working its wonders. I love the magnet beam, I really do. The magnet beam is awesome. Especially, you got limited ammo for it, obviously, but if you know how to utilize it well, you can bypass a lot of things. In fact, I think you can actually use the magnet beam to get on top of that little pillar that you see right there and completely bypass that ladder section. It's not much, but, it's the little things like that that I enjoy doing. So you see, you got a prime opportunity for a magnet beam right here. You can put it right there, and voila, there you go. Ouch. Oh, wow, I got 6 of them right there. The Ice Slasher can actually, you can freeze the fire pillars right there that I think I mentioned that earlier already. Yeah, generally when you go through the double doors, you're pretty much at where the boss is at, but you still have a bit of obstacles to deal with before actually getting to the boss himself. This is the only Mega Man game that does that, because in every other game after this, it's pretty much just like a checkpoint hallway where you'll always respawn if you die to the Robot Master. Anyway, this is Fireman. Fireman is really sporadic with its projectiles. I have never, ever beaten him without taking damage, and I know there is a way to you can exploit his AI where he like only shoots one fireball at a time, but I've never been able to do that. I don't know how to do that, and I'm pretty sure there are 5,000 other YouTube videos where they can demonstrate that via no damage run. If you're that curious, the search bar is right there. But anyway, folks, I will see you guys on Wednesday with part 2 of the Mega Man 1 Let's Play. See you guys then.